So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the samples out of our folder and we're going to put them into Ableton. I'm on Ableton 10. Ableton 9 and 10 are very similar. If you go a bit further back, I can't vouch for that because I've never used them, but everything we're doing should basically be all right in both versions. So we've got our kick. Brilliant, that's all working. One thing we're going to do as well is we're just going to rename everything as we go along. It's always good to be organized, which I do sometimes and sometimes I don't, but like just for now we definitely will do it. So kick, clap, so that's all good. And then we're going to go back and we're going to get our top groove and just quickly duplicate that. How I'm duplicating things as well, if you don't know the shortcut, it's just Command and D. If you're on Mac, I can't speak for anything to Windows because I don't use it, I'm not very good with that kind of stuff. And then as you can see, we've looped the area, which is by Command and L, which will just loop the selected area in Ableton. So if we just quickly turn down the groove just slightly, just while we're playing it. So already we've got a really good solid groove going, but we're going to go further with the samples because there's nothing wrong with dragging and dropping the samples, but as we said, we want to do more with them. So next, what have we got? We've got our open groove. I tell you what, let's add in our open hat, and what else have we got? Tell you what, let's just drag them all in first. We've got our rider. What else have we got? We've got our crash fill, and then we've got our crash effect, and then also our drum fill. Let me just quickly double check. That should be everything. Yes, that's everything to do with the drums. So what we're going to quickly do is quickly rename everything. So top groove, open hat, rider, crash fill, crash effect, and drum fill. Brilliant. So how I normally arrange things in Ableton, which most people will do, but this is how I do it as well, is we start with the kick, and then you go down to things like snares, hi-hats, anything. So basically the best way to think of it is you go from your low part of your drums, so like kicks and stuff like that, to anything mid frequency, which will be like snares, claps, or anything like that at all. Then you go to your tops, which obviously is like your riders, your crash cymbals, all that kind of thing. And if you get into the habit of doing that, it will just be quicker when you're arranging it. And also, when you go back to projects, if you're looking for something, or even if you have loads of tracks and you're looking back on it, you won't get confused. You'll know exactly where everything is if you just get into that habit, which is a good habit to get into, which is what we're going to quickly do now. So if we have the kick, which has got the clap on it, the top groove, so we'll drag the drum fill up there, and then everything else is pretty much fine. Open hat, then rider, then the crash effect and the crash fill, that's fine. One thing we will do as well, just to keep things connected, is use the colours in Ableton, which you can do by, if we go select on the groove, press Command, and then select the other one as well, so it's selecting two things, right click, and then you've got all these colour options. Let's just pick a colour randomly, there you go. And then if we go assign track colours to clips, and as you can see, that has changed all the colours. And all it is just so when you look at your arrangement, you quickly can identify where everything is. I mean, yes, we will be putting things into groups later on, but just initially, if you do this now, it's not something you have to do later or anything like that. So again, so we've got our so that's fine. Open hi-hats and riders. So these are all top things. So again, we're going to select them all. Right click. Let's go for, let's submit, I don't know, maybe not green. Let's go for a nice yellow. Very nice. Again, assign track clips to colors. Brilliant. Already looks nice and also a bit more appealing to the eye. So now we're actually going to start arranging things a little bit more. So if I just quickly turn off all these open hi-hats and let's just focus on this drum fill. So this is what we have with the drum fill. Nice. The only thing that I'm noticing is just around here we have this kind of skip, like kind of fill just before. There's nothing wrong with it, but it can be a bit messy, especially if you're mixing it in with other layers, which obviously we don't want to do. So if I just pull that forward and let's just see where it starts. That sounds all right. Let's just quickly listen to it with the top. So there's nothing wrong with that. That sounding pretty good, What we'll probably end up doing is panning it in different areas so it doesn't clash too much. But at the moment, I'm liking that. But is there something else that we can do rather than just being a fill at the end of the 8 bars? So let's just have a quick listen and have a think. So what I'm thinking we could do is maybe even just play about with this actual clip itself. So what I've just done there is I've just highlighted an area, I've pressed Command and C, it's just a copy, and then if we just Command and V, and then it's moved it over to wherever I've just placed it. So let's have a quick listen. See, by just adding that straight away, we're getting an extra part of the groove, and you're using the sample more rather than just the drag and drop and there we go. So I quite like that personally, so let me just quickly copy that and then just quickly duplicate and just see where that goes. That goes to there, that's fine. So if we just play that from the beginning. See, that's nice, but maybe we just need to move it around a bit because it does seem like it just kind of appears out of nowhere and just kind of ends. So what I'm thinking is maybe if we drag it to about here, so quick play. Yeah, I like that. One thing we have to bear in mind with the top groove, which I have a quick listen, towards the end it has its own kind of off hit with the clap and snare. Which is nothing wrong with, but it's just something you've got to bear in mind. But also, it's not a bad thing, because if we have the drum fill at the end of the second bar and then the built-in groove that's already in the top on the end of the bar, of the fourth bar, sorry, then it just gives a bit of variation, because sometimes it's very tempting, especially when you have a cool groove and you like, oh, I like the sound of it, to overuse it. Believe me, I did it all the time and still do. The amount of times that I listen to stuff and I have to send it back and, yeah, so it's very easy to do and I understand that. So what we're just going to do now, I've just highlighted just the drum fill and then to the front of the bar, Command C, and then we're going to stop at 5, and there we go. So now we've got that consistent groove, and then to finish it off we have the drum fill. But now what I'm saying, as I said before, sorry, I've realised that there is that extra fill in the groove. Let me just play it again for you just to make sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. That little off bit, nothing wrong with it, but I think that because we're going to have that drum fill, they are going to clash, and if we just play it you can kind of hear that they are already kind of clashing. Like, they're not too badly clashing, but it's like you can hear it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this section here, again we're going to highlight it, and then instead of Command and C and Command and V and all that kind of thing, I'm simply just going to Command D, which will duplicate what I've selected and just place it directly next to it, as we can see there. And then all that will do, if I just play the top on its own, is this section here, it's just going to duplicate it. So now we have it playing twice. But because we're going to have the fill over the top of it, it will make more sense. So let me just show you. See, for me, that is so much cleaner. And yes, you are removing that, but also because we're adding that extra fill, it's fine. But now when we look at it, instead of us having a 4-bar loop with 1 or 2 variations in it, you've actually now got a full 8-bar loop with a load of variations. So let's just play everything from the beginning. So from 1 to 8, so you can hear what we've done now already. Brilliant, sounding much better already. And as you can see, that is just from 2 samples, and we've just made a completely groove. We've just made a completely new groove from fresh, and I like to stress and say that no one else has got that groove, have they, using that sample? So, I mean, they might have, but like, let's just, you know, we'll go with that they haven't. So, brilliant. So let's just play that again with the kick and clap, so you get more sense of the full groove that we're building. Brilliant, sounding really, really good there.